Well, Jobs, apparently a piece of work because the biopic on the late Apple founder, more like floundering, mustering only $6.7 million in ticket sales its debut weekend. I hope that was because of some bad acting and not some revealing storytelling, because I'm told in this business movie, I didn't see it, I must admit, business wasn't cast in its traditional bad light. In fact, the startup saga paid homage to go-get 'em entrepreneurs like Mr. Jobs and the American can-do corporate spirit. Odd to be sure, for a Hollywood more inclined to bash bosses than praise them. So back to evil business guy movies from a Hollywood much more comfortable ripping them, to Michelle Fields and James Herson. Michelle, your thoughts?
Well, you know, a lot of the critics didn't like this film because they said it focused too much on his career. I think a lot of people in Hollywood are used to seeing these films that focus not so much on the career of the businessman, but rather these side stories where they're, you know, hurting the small guy and talking about all the corruption that him and his business were into. And this film didn't do that. And I think a lot of Hollywood critics didn't like that.
James, as the Newsmax.com entertainment reporter, you have an interesting vantage point on looking at these type of movies. What was your reflection on this one?
Well, as you pointed out, it's the tradition, it's the natural instinct of Hollywood to bash business. Part of that is because they embrace the left, and the left, of course, makes business in their storytelling the villain. And I think they're going to revert to form because this film justifies that bashing because it was positive. By the way, the reason it's an exception is because Hollywood perceives Steve Jobs as one of their own. He was on the board of Disney. He created Pixar. So that's why they were kind to his entrepreneurialism.
I didn't even think of that, the subject itself, himself. What do you make of that, Michelle? That had this been any entrepreneur who might have been a little less to the left, so this wouldn't be what it was.
This is really an anomaly because the left has this great contradiction when it comes to Apple products. You know, they're very much against big business. Big business is so bad. But if you talk about Steve Jobs and Apple, all of a sudden, oh, they love big business. And so they made an exception with Steve Jobs. But I don't think that we'll be seeing very many other films that are pro-business and focus on the career and the person in a good light. Instead, it's going to go back to what it usually is, which is, of course, the businessman is always the evil villain who's out to get the small guy.
You know, I must hasten, Dave, I did not see it, but clearly John Scully, of course, came in to sort of put the pedal to the metal and put these great dream ideas into practical money-making reality. He doesn't come off that great. What am I to read into that?
Well, I mean, look, John Scully's not one of their own. And the quintessential bad guy businessman in Hollywood is Gordon Gekko. Gordon Gekko, who appeared in Wall Street, and Wall Street Money Never Sleeps. And so having this film flop, they're probably working on Wall Street 3. You know, capitalism evil never sleeps.
You know,
I mean, it's because
you guys could be right. I want to thank you both. Interesting read on this film. But hope springs eternal that maybe business will be presented more favorably. But that's just a hope.